Right, Potter fans, I know you all love a debate, and nothing sparks a better debate than a controversial Harry Potter opinion being shared on the internet. And over the past year and a bit since I joined the online Harry Potter community, I've gained a bit of a reputation for having some controversial Harry Potter opinions. So I thought, for a bit of fun, why not put myself in the line of fire? So I'm going to give you 7 of my most controversial Harry Potter opinions. So please do hit subscribe, like the video, and at the end tell me if you agree or disagree with my opinions. But without further ado, let's jump in with number 1. Quidditch is simply just a plot device. I love Quidditch, I think we all love Quidditch, but when you actually go back through the series, with the exception of the last game in the Prison of Azkaban, where Harry just gets to play a normal match, win, and lift the Quidditch Cup for Gryffindor, pretty much every other book just uses Quidditch as a plot device. In the Philosopher's Stone, it's used to cast suspicion on Snape. In the Chamber of Secrets, it's used to give Dobby another attempt to try and stop Harry. Earlier in the Prison of Azkaban, it's used to reinforce Harry's fear of Dementors. In the Order of the Phoenix, Harry's suspended to give Hagrid time to show him and Hermione grow up. And in the Half-Blood Prince, Quidditch is used to show Malfoy's changing character by the fact that he's suddenly no longer interested in Quidditch and would rather spend the time where he knows students are down at the Quidditch pitch alone in the school. So yeah, when you actually break it down, Quidditch really is not used as a sport. In fact, I don't think JK ever even intended for the sport of Quidditch to be that important, but in pretty much every match we're shown, you can find a way that it's being linked to further a certain plot point. Number 2, Dolores Umbridge is not the most evil character in the series. So this is an opinion that before joining the online community, I didn't really think was that controversial. I mean, to me, Voldemort is the most evil character in the series, and I don't think I need to go into much more detail other than the fact that he is responsible for so many deaths, both during the main books, but also way before during the First Wizarding War. However, the reason I'm including this in this video is because whenever I say this in a video, whether it's on YouTube or more specifically over on TikTok, I'm always bombarded with comments where people are saying they actually think Dolores Umbridge is more evil than Voldemort. And I get it, she is an absolutely terrible woman, and the things that she does to young students, which I don't even want to say on here because I don't know if YouTube allows them, are genuinely awful. And within the main series, I would probably put her in the top 3 along with Bellatrix and Voldemort. That is if you're not counting Grindelwald, because really all of his past crimes come before the main books take place. But I still just cannot see the argument for her being more evil than Voldemort. Opinion number 3, Draco Malfoy is a wasted character. Right, hold on before all the Draco Malfoy fans go at me. I really like Draco Malfoy as a character. I don't like him as a person, I think he is a bully, but as a character, he's perfect. You need someone like that. Harry needs an arch nemesis in school who isn't someone on the same level as a Voldemort, but who can just throw him a few problems throughout the school year here and there to spice up the books a bit. Draco's backstory is also great, and it leads you to a point by the end of the Half-Blood Prince, especially with the job that he's been given by Voldemort, where you genuinely don't know what way Draco is going to turn. And it is fascinating, but that's where he becomes the most wasted character in the series. By the end of book 6, it was one of the biggest questions: was Draco a Death Eater? Or had the fact that he failed to kill Dumbledore meant that he was finally going to see the light, join the good team, basically abandon his family and fight against Voldemort's army? And in the end, I genuinely don't think we get an answer. I mean, during the Battle of Hogwarts itself, he's just a coward. He's not specifically fighting against the Death Eaters, and he is happy to pretend to be a Death Eater when it helps him to get out of trouble, but he's also not on the good side either. Now, I get the argument that during the epilogue, he does nod to Harry 19 years after these events have taken place, and I know that in The Cursed Child, him and Harry sort of join forces for the good of their children, but still, I'm just not buying it. It wasn't a good enough redemption arc for how well it was all set up in the Half-Blood Prince. Opinion number 4, Colin Crey had the saddest death in the series. Unfortunately, as you go through the Harry Potter books, the chances of your favourite characters losing their lives increases drastically. And there are a vast number of sad deaths in the series. Dobby, Fred Weasley, Sirius Black, Cedric Diggory, Lupin, Tonks, etc. The list goes on and on and on. But I think the saddest death that never gets noticed enough is Colin Crey. And it's maybe because it's not featured in the movie, but just the fact that Colin Crey was supposed to be too young to stay behind during the Battle of Hogwarts, but snuck behind anyway purely because he wanted to fight on behalf of his hero Harry Potter, yet obviously just wasn't a strong enough wizard to ever be able to put up a good fight against the Death Eaters. And therefore, even though we don't see it, I'd imagine he probably lost his life without ever really standing a chance. And for that reason, it is just the saddest death in the series in my opinion. Opinion number 5. The best character in the Chamber of Secrets book is Gilderoy Lockhart. So I'm kind of throwing this in there, not really knowing how it's going to go down, because I do think there is a group of Lockhart fans on the internet. But there's also the people who rightfully just think he's a tool and dislike him. And whilst yes, he is absolutely a tool, and I think it was right to write him off after the Chamber of Secrets with the exception of his little cameo in St. Mungo's in the 5th book. However, I still think he is the absolute star of the Chamber of Secrets book. There's just something about his character. He is genuinely so funny and so entertaining. One of my favourite moments in the entire series is when he walks over in the courtyard because he's heard that someone is potentially giving out signed photographs. And his reaction when he realises it's Harry is honestly amazing. And I just love the dynamic of Harry and Ron just very, very quickly in the book figuring out that this guy is just a complete fraud. But obviously at that age, they're like 11 and 12. You kind of just have to give a teacher the benefit of the doubt. You would never imagine that a teacher actually is a fraud, even though all that evidence is right there. So they're kind of just going through the book, slowly getting more and more bewildered by the fact that this guy who has seemingly done everything can't do anything. I just think it's brilliant, and it is my favourite thing when I go back through a reread, getting to the Chamber of Secrets and re-entering Lockhart World. Opinion number 6, The Order of the Phoenix is the worst Harry Potter book. Now, this is another one that, to be honest, before I joined the online community, I kind of assumed was a shared opinion. But again, whenever I make a video ranking the books or whatever, I do get a lot of people disagreeing with my opinion on The Order of the Phoenix. And it does seem like people are very split on the book. Not many people seem to have it in the middle of their list. They either don't like it like me or absolutely love it and it's near the top. And I will also just specify, when I say I don't like it, I still really like the book. There's no such thing as a bad Harry Potter book, but I do think it's the worst, and by quite a margin. It's the only Harry Potter book that to me feels slightly too long, mainly because I just think there's not that much interesting stuff going on. All the excitement is happening outside of Hogwarts with the Order and trying to discover what Voldemort is doing, and we just don't really get to see any of it. And basically the entire plot of Order of the Phoenix that gets dragged out is Harry and co don't really like Umbridge. And it is fun and it leads to some brilliant moments, but when an entire book is kind of based around not liking one of your teachers, it just doesn't have as much as all the other books in my opinion. I will say, one argument in favour of Order of the Phoenix is the chapter where Dumbledore explains the prophecy to Harry is one of my favourite chapters throughout the series, but my word, in a reread, does it take us a long time to get to that point. And finally, opinion number 7, I think that Neville Longbottom should have killed Bellatrix Lestrange, allowing Ginny Weasley to slay Nagini. So I've spoken about this a bit before on my TikTok account. I like the way that everything wraps up towards the end of the Deathly Hallows. I just think things could have gone a little bit differently. Mrs. Weasley killing Bellatrix Lestrange is an awesome moment, but I never really felt that she needed it, and maybe that's me being unfair on the fact that her son Fred had just died. But I always felt that since we found out about Neville's past, in particular meeting his parents at St. Mungo's, that moment probably should have been given to Neville. And I understand the argument of, well, do you really want to make Neville a killer? But I feel like going into it, you'd have said the same thing about Mrs. Weasley. But realistically, when you lose a loved one, and in Neville's case, when you lose basically your parents but still have to grow up knowing them, you just have to see what they've become, which is almost worse than them actually dying. I don't think anyone would have had a problem. I think it would have been entirely justified. Maybe you could have done something similar to Harry, where Bellatrix tries to kill Neville and he deflects something, so it's not him physically trying to kill her. But I think Neville having that moment of redemption would have been awesome. Plus, it would have freed up another character to get the moment of slaying Nagini. And I think this should have gone to one of the female characters in the DA, either Luna or Ginny. Personally, I'd have gone with Ginny because Luna sort of gets her moment by helping Harry find out about the diadem. But I feel like Ginny's the one who is kind of missing her moment, especially when she's hyped up, in particular in the Half-Blood Prince book, making it into the Slug Club. It's portrayed that she's a very, very powerful witch. And with her going on to marry Harry, how awesome would it have been if she was the one who destroyed the final Horcrux, allowing her future husband to go and finish the job. I do think this will be my most controversial opinion on this list, hence why I saved it till last, because I know a lot of people do love Mrs. Weasley and Neville both getting their moments at the end. But hey, there's a reason these opinions are controversial. Anyway, that's my list. Let me know, do you agree, do you disagree? And let me know your controversial Harry Potter opinions in the comments. Please do like the video and subscribe if you're new, and I will hopefully see you next time. Goodbye.